Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about the authorization 2.0 workflow. Like in the application when we are using there is some security and how that security happen and which type of application, what type of authentication we are providing. For the single sign-on application, what type of authentication we are giving, and for the without single sign-on or without normal you can say what the authentication authorization process and working flow we are using. So all this information, all this type of authentication we are going to discuss here. And coming to this picture, I can see I already mentioned this what type of services authentication or authorization we are going to discuss. We have first like authorization code, second we have a client credential, third we have a implicit code, fourth we have a resource owner password. So each and every step we are going to discuss how they are asking the information to the browser, to client side, to server side, and what is the mediator between them. So first we have a authorization code. In this you can see we have a browser, server, idp. In these three component you can see in all the credential, all authorization processing which they are using for the authorization authentication process. So coming to this first one, authorization. In this browser, when goes to the server, they asking like send my data, get my data, then server need to be verified. Who is asking, is they a right person or not. So for that reason, in authorization code process, the server is again sending the message, please send your authentication or idp code. Then listening this message, browser again asking to the same question with the idp where they are storing their all information. Then they are giving the same message like I have been redirected by the server, can you authenticate. So listening this message, please provide me access token authorization code. And listening this message, idp verify is it right or wrong, right person or wrong person. Then he authenticate and sending the message to browser, yeah, you are authenticated, this is your authorization authentication code. And after getting this code, again browser go to the server. You can see again this request is going to the server, and using this information, server again validate, and taking that information again he goes to the idp and checking the service or the authentication provided by this browser is it same or wrong, or is it right or wrong, I can see. Then if it is verified, then it will be again sending the response from the idp and the same access token, I can say what they are receiving from this browser side server, and idp sending a matching, yeah, this is your access token. Then server validate this, again server again sending the message like from this access token to give the user profile information. Yeah, they are verified, this is the access token they are sending and receiving. After getting verified by the access token, then they are asking, please provide the profile information, like what the request user asking, please provide that information. By default when they are asking for the like, profile information, so they have to be sent the profile information. So after that, this user profile information will be sending to the server via the idp, and this information again server sending to the browser. So here is your data as the server is sending all the information what they are asked in the request to the browser. So this is the whole process happening in the authorization code. Coming to the client credential, you can see we have again here client tab, server, and idp. Here first request doesn't go in the server side, as a name suggests like it is a client credential. So that's why when they are first asking for the authorization, they are not directly going to the server, they are first going to the client id authenticated with the idp. You can see here we have this request authenticate client id with client secret. And here when they are sending the request, idp again checking the same id secret and authentication what they are asking, is it right or not, is it valid or not. If that is valid, then they are sending with the access token. After using that access token, client app again goes to the server side. For his server, use this access token for accessing the resources. Okay, so after this information, server validate, yeah, is it right, they are sending the request. So he was again like the server is again going to the idp and asking this access token is valid or not because of the security. If that is verified from the idp, then it is sending, yeah, it is a valid or it is a right credential. We can provide the resource or information what the user was or what the end user or client app is asking. So after getting the confirmation from this side, then server sending, okay, this is the access token and give me the resources what the user was asking, what the client app is asking. And after that information, the idp again sending the resource, and this resource taken by the server, and this server sending the data which is asked by the client app. So this process is happening in the client credential. You can see we are getting the difference how they are validating the process in the authorization code and in the client credential. Coming to the third, we have an implicit code. In this implicit code, you can see we again have a browser server IDP, and here we not skipping the server validation first time, because in the first step you can see in the client credential we are skipping the server. We are directly going to the IDP, but in the implicit code that is not happening. It is again first start with this, like they are asking, user asking or client asking, get my data with the server. Server is asking again, can you authenticate please with the IDP. Then again this browser goes to this IDP and asking like, please authenticate me. Then IDP will be checking this information, user ID password will be remaining or will be having in my system. If that is yes, then this IDP is sending yes you are authenticated, and sending with the access token also, with the security purpose for the unique access specifier I can say. And using that access token, again browser go to the server, sending like I have done this authorization authentication, use this access token. And after they return this access token, again server not getting directly sending the data, he will again goes to the IDP and checking like this authentication token provided by you, is it right or wrong. Then again it is validated, and IDP is sending yes it is right for this access token, and server getting this information and sending the same to the browser or client type or end user I can say. So this is happening in the implicit code type of authorization authentication. Coming to the resource owner password, here what we can see, username and password will be a right thing I can say, starting step. They are using a username and password, and from this client tab it is going to not directly server, it is directly going to the IDP, taking this username and password, right client ID, and asking like, please use my client ID and secret for validation purpose. And if that is validated, IDP sending all the information with like with the ID and password with the access token, yeah this is right ID and password which is having in our database. So that is validated and sending with the access token. Again coming to the client tab, this client tab using this access token which is received by the IDP and going to the server for the validation, please check this user ID and password and access token what I have, and please provide my data. Then server take this information, again goes to the IDP and asking this is the right data or not. If that is right, then IDP again sending the validated data what the user was asking, then server taking those data and sending to the again end user or our client, or I can say what the end person was asking. So this is the process happening in the resource owner password. So all the authentication authorization process have this, I think I already completed most of the topic, most of the process, how they are directly going to the server, how they are directly going to the client side, how they are directly going to the IDP. So this is the way the process authentication authorization for the security reason happening in the application. And discuss in the briefly high level I can say authorization code flow, like you already seen in the diagram. It is like most common for a OAuth flow. And after this authentication, the client receive the authorization code and exchanges for the access token and reference token. And second, we have a client credential. In this flow is designed for the single page application, and this access token is returned directly to the client without an intermediate authorization code. Because as you second scenario, you see it is not going to the directly server, it is directly going to the IDP. So it is an intermediate, not containing the intermediate type of authorization code. Third, we have a resource owner password. In the resource owner password, allow user to directly send the client and which they exchange the data within that. And implicit code for this one designed for the single page application, and this access token is returned directly to the client without an intermediate authorization code. So I think I already discussed. If you have any query or any doubt, please comment it down. I will try to discuss, I will try to elaborate this information more to you. And coming to the last point, over to you, I will ask some question like, which one do you think is something that is you should you can use in your next application for this authentication or OAuth flow. Please comment it down here, I will check and I will discuss. Thank you. Meet you in the next video.